Hey, this is Pastor Tom with North Glencoe Baptist Church, and you're watching Not Another Church Podcast. This is a weekly podcast featuring church staff and your host, Pastor Tom. So thanks for tuning in.
As I read on Facebook and Instagram, I hear, especially in the South, believers talking a lot about the slippery slope, and we're setting precedents where the government can do this. And I think there's also a slippery slope on the other side. I don't want anybody telling me what to do.
Right, obviously.
I don't like anybody to tell me that you've got to follow the speed limit, you've got to wear seat belts, you've got to, I don't want anybody telling me what to do, whatever. Every time I go to walk in a store and I see the sign on the door that says, you know, all entrants must wear a mask, I storm back to the truck like a huffy little 3-year-old. Get my mask, and I put the mask on, and I'm mumbling under my breath. And the slippery slope on the other side is I'm seeing some language in the Christian blogosphere that makes it sound like, well, you know, we're just not going to do what anybody tells us to do. And I think that the word that we have to really think about is balance.
We do. I mean, it applies to everything, but you also realize that the Bible kind of addresses that heart of rebellion, that one we talk about all the way through. We find person after person after person, including ourselves. And I don't know about y'all, but you know, what age did you come to the point where you began to think about how rebellious your own heart was? Like, we couch it in words like independent. We're very independent, you know, and no, we're rebellious, you know, and I think probably I remember kind of stumbling across it in my 20s, thinking about it. By the time I hit my 30s, you know, I mean, I'm only 25 or so, but in case I were to get in my 30s, you know, no, really though, as I aged, I started looking at that and realized how deeply embedded that was in my heart, how I rebelled against things around me, against the structures that God had put in place, the authorities, which included everything from within, you know, your place of employment to your home, to the church, to God Himself. It ultimately is where it all rolls down to. You know,
I saw a post that you put up on Facebook that I've actually used as a sermon illustration. And Emily was probably 5 or 6, and I was getting on to her, and I actually uttered the words, you can't just keep doing what you want to do, looking at and saying, I'm sorry, and think that makes it okay. And immediately, waves of conviction came over me of, really, Biggin?
Yeah. What a gospel moment there. I don't know about y'all, but I had everything figured out at 15, and I was as independent could be.
But so see that word? Do you notice that word? We're all like, oh, I'm just independent, you know.
I'm being really facetious. Like, for someone, like, for me, like, I'm not going to speak for all 20-somethings or whatever, but that moment where I think, like, you get to college or you get towards the end of that, but just that whole process of transitioning out of your parents' realm or grasp or reach or whatever word you want to say, and into, okay, well, this is how I'm paying for college. This is how I'm going to register for college. Like, you start doing a lot of those things that you're responsible for. Like, that kind of floods you over. And I think that's where you kind of get that idea of, hey, I've kind of got it all figured out. Yeah. Or on the other flip side, you realize, oh, by the way, I've got nothing figured out. Have no idea what I'm doing in my life. And usually you teeter back and forth between the two. And so somewhere in the middle of all that, like you said, Donna, you have to figure out, like, what you stand for, what you believe, why you believe it, and have a faith and develop beliefs that these are not my parents, these are not my grandparents, these are not traditions. This is the God that I believe in. This is what I see, and it's owning your faith. It's owning the same faith that your parents and grandparents and different people in your life have poured into you, and those seeds that they've sown into you. But for me, like, it really doesn't click until you experience some of that, whether it might be independence, some other word for that might be a little bit of real life failure. Until you kind of get a bitter taste of that in your mouth, it's tough to develop. Hey, these are the things that matter, and this is the balance that I'm gonna try to live my life around.
When thoughts and ideas turn into convictions.
Right.
When it takes a deeper meaning, and your walk with Christ becomes richer as you grow into that. And that's part of the discipleship process that we're supposed to be helping others with as well.
Right.
And I think that God just lets, as life happens to us. I mean, I remember, you know, at 18 or 19 being like, nobody can tell me what to do. I'm on my own. I'm going to stay out as late as I want. And, now I'm 50 and I go to bed by 9:30.
Please let me go to bed.
I really wish somebody would march into my living room and say, go to your room and think about what you've taught.
So would you share that story about going up to the Air Force One that time on military base?
No.
Yeah, no, he didn't make it. Let's just say that.
No, it was not. It was Marine Corps One,
Oh, I'm
which
sorry.
is the
Okay.
helicopter. Ann and I, because we are jet setters, after we got married, we went to the Marine Hostess House on Quantico, and we were riding around base, and
Happy honeymoon, sweetheart.
that's right. Hey, $23 a night, buddy. So we're riding around base. We'd gone to Pizza Hut or something, and I'm just driving around looking, and there are all these signs that say, no entry past this point, no, do not go here, no, seriously, no.
As he blew by each
As
one
I
of
drove
those
past,
signs.
hey, I'm a Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps. I can go where I want to go. And so I top this hill, and I'm looking at Marine Corps One with all these, floodlights on it.
That's not all you were looking at.
And I'm also looking at these other Lance Corporals in the Marine Corps with loaded weapons who turn toward my vehicle and start running. And so I'm throwing this Ann's little Mustang in reverse and backing back down that hill as fast as I can go. Yes.
So there is an ultimate authority, is what you're kind of driving at with that?
There are.
And off of that realization is when there's a gun pointed right back at you. Apparently, is what Tom's saying.
Well, and life points guns at you sometimes.
It does. It does.
Hey, your parents may have been a little loosey-goosey, but that mortgage payment's not going to be loosey-goosey.
That's true.
They eventually make you move out, don't
That's
they?
right.
Yes.
All right, with that, we end today's podcast. Thanks for watching Not Another Church Podcast with your host, Pastor Tom. We want to invite you to join us Sundays for small group at 9 a.m., worship services starting at 10 a.m., and you can find North Glencoe Baptist Church live each week on Facebook and our northglencoe.org website. If you miss church, no worries. Our past services are easily accessible. They're archived on YouTube, Vimeo, Facebook. Make sure to stay up to date by following northglencoe.org. Go serve your King.